Imagine waking up to a world where some of the most iconic cars ever made simply disappear from showrooms, roads, and even our dreams, almost overnight. The automotive landscape is about to shift dramatically. By the end of next year, 9 legendary models, a group that includes the thunderous Nissan GT-R, the refined Lexus LS, the playful Mazda 2, and even the beloved Ford Focus ST, will be axed for good. These are not just cars, they are moving pieces of history, each representing decades of engineering, passion, and innovation. So what is driving this unprecedented wave of discontinuations? And what does it mean for drivers, collectors, and the very soul of car culture as we know it? Let's rewind the clock and put this moment in perspective. For well over a century, motorists have enjoyed a golden age of choice, with car lots brimming with everything from practical city runabouts to wild, high-octane supercars. The global automotive industry, shaped by titans like Henry Ford and Enzo Ferrari, has always thrived on choice and diversity. But all of that is changing, faster than most of us realize. The industry is now experiencing its most seismic transformation since the early days of mass production. Stringent emissions standards, the relentless march toward electrification, and the integration of digital technologies are forcing automakers into tough, sometimes painful decisions. Models that once defined entire brands are being swept aside as car makers race to keep pace with a world demanding cleaner, smarter, and more sustainable mobility. Let's start with the Lexus LS, a car that once sent shockwaves through the luxury market. When it made its debut in the year 1990, the LS was hailed as a technological masterpiece, a Japanese saloon that could rival the best from Germany and the United States. For 35 years, it has embodied quiet luxury, meticulous craftsmanship, and serene comfort. Yet, after decades of innovation, the LS is leaving the UK stage for one simple reason. Sales have plummeted. Since the year 2020, a mere 39 units have found homes in Britain, just 3 last year. The LS's swan song is a poignant reminder of how even the most storied names can fall victim to shifting market forces. High price tags, changing consumer expectations, and the rise of new luxury competitors have sealed its fate. Next, consider the Mazda 2. Introduced in the UK in the year 2003, this lively super mini offered affordable, fun-to-drive motoring for a new generation of urban drivers. But in the age of electrification, even such crowd-pleasers are not safe. As Mazda pivots toward a future where every car it sells features some form of electrification by the year 2030, the traditional petrol and mild hybrid Mazda 2 are being replaced by the Mazda 2 Hybrid, a rebadged Toyota Yaris. In the words of a Mazda spokesperson, as we move towards increased electrification of our cars, the Mazda 2 Hybrid meets consumer demand in the B segment. In other words, the future belongs to hybrids and electrics, not internal combustion engines. The push for cleaner, greener motoring is even more apparent in the story of the Mazda MX-30. Launched just 4 years ago as Mazda's first fully electric vehicle, the MX-30 seemed poised to lead the brand into a new era. Yet its limited range, just 124 miles on a full charge, and cramped interior space proved to be significant drawbacks for customers. While the plug-in hybrid version remains, the fully electric MX-30 is already being axed. Here, the lesson is clear. Innovation is not just about electrification, but also about meeting the practical needs of everyday drivers. Battery range and usability still matter as much as green credentials. The winds of change are also sweeping through the world of high-performance sports cars. Porsche, famous for its precision engineering and racing pedigree, has decided to end production of its petrol-powered 718 Boxster and Cayman models in October 2025. In fact, European sales have already stopped due to strict new cybersecurity regulations imposed by the European Union. These rules, designed to protect cars from hacking and data theft, add layers of complexity and cost that make it harder to keep older analog models on the road. For many enthusiasts, the loss of the Boxster and Cayman is more than just a product phase-out. It represents the end of an era where the thrill of a high-revving flat-six engine could be experienced by anyone with a passion for driving. Audi, too, is making radical changes. The affordable A1 hatchback and Q2 crossover, two of the brand's best-selling and most accessible models, will cease production in 2026, with no direct successors planned. Instead, Audi is pouring its resources into creating a new entry-level electric vehicle, aiming to redefine what it means to drive an Audi in the electric age. Audi's current CEO, Gernot Dollner, put it bluntly, We will end A1 and Q2 production in 2026. There definitely will be no successor for the A1. Marcus Duesman, his predecessor, was equally clear in his conviction that the brand must focus on the future, not the past. And then there's the Ford Focus ST, a performance icon that has thrilled drivers for more than 2 decades. Once the default choice for those seeking hot hatch fun without breaking the bank, the Focus ST is now in its final days. Ford recently announced that production will end in November 2025, and dealers in the UK are down to their last 170 unsold cars, including just 30 of the special ST edition finished in eye-catching Azura blue. For fans of accessible performance, the end of the Focus ST is a bitter pill to swallow. Finally, we come to the Nissan GT-R, perhaps the most heart-wrenching loss of all. Nicknamed Godzilla for its monstrous performance and racing dominance, the GT-R has been an enduring symbol of Japanese engineering prowess since the R35 model was unveiled in the year 2007. Production ended in Japan in early 2025, marking the car's final bow after already being pulled from both the UK and European markets in 2022 and from North America in 2024. Remarkably, sales of the GT-R saw a revival before the end, with Nissan selling 326 units in the year 2023, and a staggering 5,644 more units in 2024, a year-over-year increase of more than 1,700%. Yet even this late surge could not secure the GT-R's future, as Nissan grapples with financial pressures and the uncertain economics of developing a fully electric successor. For many, these changes are deeply personal. Cars are far more than mere machines. They are woven into our memories: first road trips, family outings, late-night drives with friends. A car can be a status symbol, a member of the family, or a lifelong dream fulfilled. The words of Marcus Duesman echo the sense of finality. We decided not to build A1 anymore, and there will be no successor model from Q2 either. When icons fall, nostalgia and loss are inevitable. But here's the real dilemma at the heart of this transformation. As automakers race to electrify, comply with ever stricter regulations, and adapt to evolving consumer tastes, they are leaving behind models that once defined entire eras. Are we witnessing progress, or the end of something irreplaceable? What happens to drivers who crave the visceral emotion of a roaring engine, the tactile feel of a manual gearbox, or the comfort of a familiar classic design? As the final unsold Focus STs gather dust in showrooms and the last orders for the Mazda MX-30 and Nissan GT-R are placed, a profound question emerges. In this rush toward electrification, digitalization, and efficiency, are we on the cusp of a new golden age of mobility, or a future where choice and individuality are sacrificed for the sake of uniformity and sustainability? To answer that, let's look at the bigger picture. The electrification of the car industry is not just a trend, it is a revolution. Automotive technology analyst Daniel Harrison has called it the biggest transformation in over a century. Companies like Mazda, Audi, Ford, and Nissan are all moving at breakneck speed toward electrified lineups. By the year 2030, Mazda has pledged that every model it sells will feature some form of electrification. Audi, meanwhile, is preparing to launch a new entry-level battery electric vehicle, or BEV, that aims to make electric mobility accessible to more people than ever before. In fact, Audi's CEO, Gernot Döllner, recently emphasized, "Our focus is now on a new entry-level BEV," highlighting the brand's determination to lead the charge into a future powered by electrons rather than petrol. This revolution offers tremendous opportunities, but not without growing pains. As beloved models fade away, there are legitimate concerns about the loss of variety and the slow homogenization of the driving experience. For car enthusiasts, the introduction of strict legal sound limits, dropping to 72 decibels and set to fall even further to 68 decibels from 2026, signals the end of an era. Cars are becoming quieter, cleaner, and, some fear, less soulful. Will the next generation of drivers even remember the joy of a naturally aspirated engine symphony or the feel of a manual transmission? Will future car shows become museums dedicated to a lost age of automotive excitement? Yet, there is another side to this coin. The shift towards electrification and digital technology brings incredible benefits. Imagine cities with dramatically cleaner air, vastly reduced noise pollution, and streets safer for pedestrians and cyclists. Electric cars have far fewer moving parts, slashing maintenance costs and reducing the likelihood of breakdowns. Over-the-air software updates can add new features overnight, transforming your car without ever visiting a dealership. And with advances in autonomous driving, we may soon see a world in which mobility is more flexible, inclusive, and accessible than ever before. This transformation is not limited to the cars themselves. It is reshaping how we own, use, and even think about mobility. The rise of car sharing, leasing, and subscription services is changing the economics of car ownership. In the years to come, we may see a shift from individually owned, personality-packed vehicles to a future that prizes efficiency, sustainability, and shared access. The automotive industry is also exploring circular economy models, where components are reused and recycled, minimizing environmental impact. In urban areas, alternative mobility solutions like electric bikes and scooters are gaining ground, reducing congestion and making cities more livable. But what about the people who still dream of owning a piece of automotive history? For collectors and enthusiasts, these discontinuations could spell opportunity as well as loss. The rarity of models like the last Nissan GT-R, Porsche Boxster, or Ford Focus ST may drive up their value, making them coveted classics almost overnight. If you have your heart set on one of these outgoing legends, now is the time to act. Those remaining 170 unsold Focus STs in the UK, for instance, are unlikely to last long. For the everyday motorist, the transition to electrification brings both new opportunities and responsibilities. With governments phasing out tax incentives for electric and low-emission vehicles, it pays to stay informed about the latest policies and subsidies in your area. Understanding the growing charging infrastructure, comparing the safety and connectivity features of new models, and considering the long-term environmental impact of your choice will be essential. The car buying experience is evolving rapidly, and knowledge is your best ally. Yet there's a twist that few outside the industry fully appreciate. This is not just about cars. The disappearance of these models marks a larger societal pivot. We are moving from an age dominated by individual car ownership and all the freedom, status, and identity it conferred, to a future that values flexibility, sustainability, and seamless digital integration. In 20 years, our relationship with mobility may look as different from today as the smartphone did from the rotary dial phone. Autonomous vehicles, ride-sharing, and new business models could redefine what it means to get from A to B. Some experts envision a world where cars become just one piece of a broader mobility puzzle. Picture a future where you use a single app to access a range of transport options: an electric scooter for the first mile, a shared autonomous taxi for the main part of your journey, and a bike for the last stretch. As the world's cities grow more crowded and concerns about climate change mount, these new patterns of movement could help reduce congestion, lower emissions, and create healthier urban environments. So, is this the dawn of true innovation or the twilight of consumer choice? In truth, it is both. We are closing the book on some legendary chapters in automotive history, but opening new ones filled with the promise of smarter, cleaner, and more personalized mobility. The loss of icons like the Nissan GT-R and Porsche Boxster stings, but the potential gains, less pollution, more options for flexible mobility, and a surge in technological innovation, could be extraordinary if we embrace them with open minds. Ultimately, the only constant in the car world is change. As we bid farewell to these 9 models, we are not just saying goodbye to cars. We are witnessing the evolution of an industry, and perhaps the very way we move through the world. Will future generations look back on this moment as the end of an era, or the beginning of an exciting new chapter? That is a question only time and our choices can answer. What about you? Are you excited for an electric digital future, or do you mourn the loss of gasoline-powered icons and the rich diversity of old? Let's keep the conversation going. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights at the crossroads of global economics and technology.